What's up, guys? Welcome to the Counting Wisdom podcast. I wanted to just briefly talk about, are we in the tribulation? And my take on it is, I think that question is the wrong question. Because what you have on your to-do list, has nothing to do with, when the rapture is or if we're in the tribulation, because there's a lot going on that you just have no control over. And if you're asking, are we in the tribulation, then I guess the next question would be, okay, what are we doing? What are our tasks that we have to do as a church to, go through the tribulation? And so no one is really asking that question, that second question that I just gave. And so, it really matters what is actually happening in the world and what God is doing. And if God has not raptured us yet, we can't do anything about that, guys. You can try to, as a church, we can say, we're going to get more purified and clean, and, we're just going to get more unified. Well, still, it's up to God when He raptures us, guys. And so, there's a guy on YouTube that is saying, we are in the tribulation already. To say that, I think, is kind of pointless, one, but it's also it's kind of a dangerous pointless point. Because, if you go around spreading that we're in the tribulation, you're going to get people freaked out. And two, you're not giving them really anything to do. You're not giving them anything to do about it. And you're just going on and saying, okay, we're in the tribulation, and yeah, I just wanted to convince you guys that the tribulation already started. Okay, let me go show all this evidence, and all right, have a nice day. Well, what happened to, what are you saying is the point of telling someone that we are in the tribulation? Are you saying the rapture is next, or are you just saying, hey, we got to just, stick in and prepare for this, guys, and you just sign off? Well, that's not a real helpful video. You're just coming on your channel to prove you're right or wrong. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that this guy is beneath me or, anything like that. We've all had those videos that we sometimes look back and say, oh, I probably said that wrong, or I probably, didn't really think that through. But still, you get 19,000 views overnight. You just released a video in like 4 hours ago, and you already have 19,000 views. But it's because you're telling people that we are in the tribulation. And it's not something to just throw around lightly. Because in the person's video that I'm talking about, he was asking a lot of these questions like, what if we are in the tribulation? Oh, but then let me show you that we are. But then he was asking these questions like, he didn't really know. And I don't see how anyone could know other than taking a literal approach to the tribulation. Because if you don't take a literal approach to the tribulation, then anything that happens in the world, you're going to just misconstrue to say, oh, this event lines up with what I think Revelation is saying. And yes, I feel for the person, because he is probably shaked up like everyone was shooken up by some of the major world events that's happened. It can add a lot of stress to us because we think, oh, am I going to die? Is this it? And we have to focus on, I didn't hear one salvation message in this person's video. He didn't call anyone to salvation and saying, hey, okay, I shared all that news. Now here's what you should be doing. Now, we all can't be perfect all the time. And so, I think the guy is spot on for, just, making a video that is a clincher, just making a helpful video to say, hey, this is something that we need to wake up to. That's all good. But, my personal opinion, let's say we are at the beginning of the tribulation. To just go on your channel and say, okay, yeah, we're just going to, have to, grit our teeth and just get through this. Well, there's more that we can do. My whole thing is that if you want to be prepared, prepare that in every way that is imaginable, that the Bible reveals, like Noah built an ark. Elijah was taken up in a whirlwind by a chariot. They'll offer some real answers, like either building something or getting taken up to heaven by God and saying the rapture is going to happen. That's really the only two solutions that I find in the Bible. Lot, how he escaped end of the world type of event, was two angels showed up and told him to go, and came on board and said, hey, you got to get out of here. And so really those three options are the possibilities. So what I think is that we should do all those options. We should be preparing physically, storing up food, storing up water, being prepared for natural emergencies. If you live in a tornado alley or tornado prone state, get tornado proof ready, like have a underground bunker, have an underground shelter, and different things like that. And you would be surprised. That seems like an obvious thing to say, but there's a lot of people that are very unprepared. It's kind of like Jesus said in Revelation, where you say you're rich, but you're really naked. And how I believe what Jesus is saying there is that, let's say you have like all the money in the world and you're like the richest person in the world. But if you don't have Jesus Christ, you don't have a relationship with Jesus, then you are not rich. You're actually poor and you're naked. You have no protection. And so, there are different layers to this. And I think one of the things we have to do is watch those types of videos, though. I think the reason I clicked on his video was because I like not leaning on my own understanding, like God says. This is why I may ask people in my family or my friends questions about, what they think about the rapture or what they think about bunkers. Because we cannot lean on our own understanding. We're a team here as Christians. We're a unified family. And so if you go on your channel and you're saying something that the whole Christian church does not completely agree on, that is a red flag. There are foundational doctrines that the Bible has. There's things that come with the Christian faith. And you can't just deviate from what the Bible teaches to just make a point. And it's hard. The Bible has a lot of depth. There's a lot in it, but still, a lot of Christians, are saying we should all be saying in general the same type of thing. We're using different words, but we're all saying the same type of thing in a way. Now, here's how I will defend this guy's video with what I hear other pastors saying. They are saying that we are in the end of the last days. So this guy that I'm talking about, he came on his video and said, hey, we're already in the tribulation. It's happened. Most of the Christian church is saying we're in the end of the last days before the tribulation has started. And so it's still similar. Everyone's saying we're close to the beginning or end of something. And so, my whole point is that, we, I think, can do damage to people's minds and lives if we are not speaking the right thing. People can sometimes make life choices from the things that we put out there for people to watch, And so if you're not sure about something, you can't go on your platform that has thousands of views and say something that could possibly damage someone. Imagine the person that, sees his video and it's like, oh, we're in the tribulation. I got to drain my bank account. I got to pull my kids out of school. I'm going to drop everything. I'm going to quit my job. And, I'm going to go on the run. Guys, this is important because I have seen the news article. I've seen the news article of a boy. He was living at his parents' house, but he started following some end times teacher, and he left his house and went on a sailing trip with this guy that he found online that was an end times teacher, and his parents haven't seen him for years. They think he's either dead or lost at sea. And so the things that we put online is very serious. And I've said this before, because people's lives are at stake. And so if you come on your channel and, you're preaching something different than, we're different than the church preaches, it's just like the people, what we call universalism, which preaches that everybody is saved. If you go on your platform and you preach everybody is saved, then why are you even preaching? If everyone's going to be saved, you don't need a preacher to preach that. Just let everyone live their life and, you'll see them all later. Why do you need someone evangelizing that everyone's already saved? Oh, you told me what they think already? No, universalism is wrong. And so if you come on your platform and you're teaching all this doctrine that is different from the Christian church, and yeah, just because you went to college, that's great. But if you don't have Bible training, or the other thing, it's not always Bible training, but if you aren't actually studying your Bible and you're talking to others, if you aren't doing either one of those two things, you're under-equipped, because the Bible is one of those books that you can read it and you can think, oh, I understand it already. I got it. I understand it. No, you can't. You can't fully understand the Bible just after the first time. And so, if we're already in the tribulation, we're all underprepared, and I don't see it that way. So thanks so much for listening to my opinion. Sorry I got a little, kind of riled up for this one, because, I personally felt how following, a teaching that some people were saying online can be hurtful. And, I've seen how that can really, be impactful to people who, when they're looking for a teacher, when they're looking for life advice, and they click on your video online, they expect to get good teaching, and that's why I preach no sin preaching, because I don't want to tell someone that, hey, just continue in your sin and, you're going to be fine once you stand before God, you're already good to go. No, I don't like to preach that. Now, I will come on this platform and tell people, hey, this is where I sin. This is where I'm struggling with, this week or this year. But, to say that God is okay with, living a sinful lifestyle is not good. And so, thanks so much. Have a good one.